Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Welcome back to Bengals On The Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm your host, Joe Goodberry, continuing our off-season series of watching every player the Bengals added through the draft process, which includes undrafted players. And we've looked at offensive linemen, we've looked at defensive tackles, and now we're going to look at the player that scored the highest on our draft spreadsheet of all the undrafted guys they acquired and signed. And that may surprise some of you because I know there's big fans of Seth McLaughlin and Howard Cross and Eric Gregory out there, but Jordan Moore, the wide receiver from Duke, had a solid profile. In fact, he graded higher than a bunch of receivers that were drafted on our spreadsheet. He's a former quarterback, looks like a slot receiver at 6 foot, 180-ish, who caught 170 something balls, 2,300 yards in his basically the last 3 years of Duke. He didn't play much his freshman year, but he just turned 23 years old. And when you watch him, he makes some great catches. He runs some good routes. I'm not sure he's an elite athlete, but he's good enough for sure, especially when getting him in the slot. You can have lesser guys in the slot. And that quarterback background shows up. I wish he was a little bit better after the catch, but you'll see that. We're going to do a little different here because there was a couple games I could have watched from film, but none where he had a lot of targets. And I think sometimes watching 60 plays of a guy running 30 routes and getting 8 targets, not really the best way to watch receivers. And also not a great way to watch receivers is what we're about to do now. We're going to watch his highlights from 2024. And it's like a 13-minute video, but it's going to give you everything you need to understand who Jordan Moore is and what he can and can't do, other than other than the negative plays. It's going to be, remember, these are the highlights. So he may look great in these highlights, but it's Friday night. No, this one won't be a Friday night episode. This will be a Tuesday episode. So have a drink on a Tuesday. Sit back, enjoy, and let's talk through it as it happens. Okay, Jordan Moore here. 55 catches, 186 yards, and I don't think we need the volume here, so I'm going to turn it down on my end, and then we're going to continue. Jordan Moore, as you'll see here, is number 8. Has a bit of a bobble there as he's coming across the middle, but makes a nice catch. When you watch Moore, though, you'll see a lot of slot opportunities for him, and I think that's what he'll be. You won't see the fastest guy. He ran a 4.48 though, which is perfectly fine, especially for a guy that I think wins with a little bit of quickness and route running. Intelligence also. I think these former quarterbacks really have an advantage in the slot and is in adjusting and should have a good connection with Joe Burrow or Jake Browning, even as a backup. He's the type of guy, though, that should have a strong preseason and should stick for multiple years, in my opinion. Like even that right there, I think that's a nice adjustment on a screen that's kind of going haywire. That isn't going exactly where it's supposed to go. That make you miss right there off of, I mean, he's going against Elon, but this is Duke. So competition. Man, did you see that route? Watch at the bottom of the screen. Okay, watch him running his route here. Watch his rocker step and then get around the DB. This is what I was talking about. I don't know if you guys watched the Gregory video. Get on top of these guys. When you get on top of them like this, and he could probably be further on top, but he's in position. And what I mean by when you're on top, right, you're over top of him, you're going to control the speed. This guy can't run through your back to go make a play on the ball. If you need to speed up, you can. If you need to slow down as the DB and really keep the pace low and catch it over your shoulder, you can do that because the guy has to stay on your hip. He doesn't see the ball. So you see Moore do that really well right there. Just hold him, and then, all right, I'm going to attack at the last second. Touchdown. Very good ball skills there. Good deep route running. For a guy that I said, oh, maybe not a touchdown. For a guy I said that is probably going to be a slot guy. A lot of times slot receivers don't have the deep ball skills. And it's probably because they catch most of their stuff underneath. They probably played running back in their career. They're usually built a little bit different, played quarterback in their career. They just don't have the experience tracking downfield passes. Usually they're smaller. They don't, um, they're not as fast. So they didn't have the opportunities, I think, growing up catching these deep balls. And it's the same with running back. I talked about this the other day when I was talking about Chase Brown running routes with a lot of the receivers during Bengals OTAs and mini camps and stuff, voluntary stuff. But people are like, well, you could use them. Yeah, you could use them in the slot. And I'm like, I want a guy who's a better route runner in the slot. But even outside, I think Chase Brown tracks the ball downfield better than most running backs. Because I was talking about running backs typically don't do it very well. And a lot of times it's because they just don't do it often. And I think that's the same for slot receivers. But Moore, I think you see really good ball skills with Moore. Similar to Boyd. I thought Boyd was a good deep downfield receiver. And I think Jordan Moore looks like Boyd a lot. But I think Tyler Boyd was a good deep downfield receiver because he had really good ball skills, body positioning, despite not being very fast at all. So it was hard to consistently win out there. That's a very good catch. That's Chad Johnson. You remember those? Chad used to run comeback routes and then leave his feet and make crazy catches. Oh, we're not going to get a replay on that one? Come on. I'm going back 5 seconds then. Yes, that's Chad Johnson. The kids don't know. They don't remember. Maybe they do. Chad's still a very popular person. I was going to say, is that him getting off the line? It is. Watch him come off the line here from the slot. Take his inside route because he's got 2 guys on him right away, and then split them and go vertical. It's a really good route, good speed, good pacing, understanding how Northwestern is playing you, especially with the 2 guys on you like that. Good catching it away from your frame as well. Tie game. Overtime. End of overtime. How do you have end of overtime? Is the game over or not? End of the first overtime? Bang, we're going to Moore again. They're letting Moore take this game over from the slot from inside. Oh, he wasn't in the slot there. He was all the way out, but he still worked his way in. Caught it above his head, over his hand, over his eyes, and behind him. Now Duke versus UConn. This is the full season highlights, by the way. Again, he's over top of that corner. He can run at his pace, let the ball fall to him, or run and attack it if he needs to. Yeah. Looks like he's in the slot at the goal line. Oh, doesn't really win on the slant, right? Doesn't really win on his route. But good concentration through contact. Man, we haven't evaluated receivers in so long. It's nice to talk about receiver stuff. I love the position. Who doesn't, right? The fantasy football era of everything. But good job. That is not easy. When guys start pulling on you, it gives you every excuse you need to drop it if you're that mentality type of person. But instead, some of these guys fight through it, stay focused, catch those contested balls. Yeah. Where's more here? I'm trying to locate him. Okay, there's the route. At the bottom of the screen, I could see it. So he's outside. He's going to have to get around this guy. Good rocker step and getting around. He did that multiple times. He is killing him with routes. Yeah, it's Middle Tennessee State University. But you got to win who's lining up against you here. You'll have some Middle Tennessee State University corners in preseason, no doubt about it. It's a good route. Now we got North Carolina, a little bit more competition for Duke. Oh, there we go. Little make and miss. He's not great after the catch. He was in the bottom. I'm trying to remember. I looked at the numbers before we started recording because we'll get all the data on this. Maybe as it's playing, I'll go and double check real fast some of his numbers here. So Yak. I don't want to miss a play though. There you go, going over the middle. Let's go Yak. We're looking for missed tackles forced and Yak. So 21st percentile for Yak. Missed tackles forced, 67th percentile. Well, there's an example right there as I'm reading it. Makes a guy miss, got 2 yards extra. He's a captain. You see the captaincy on his jersey. That's him in the slot here, and we're going deep. Man, good tracking. Allowing that thing to just fall over. Turning your body, twisting, catching it on the sideline. The ref says he's in. It's in the highlight reel. I assume that was a catch. Now we got Georgia Tech here. He's on the outside again. Oh, see, we'll throw this in Cincinnati. You don't beat your guy downfield, we're throwing the back shoulder. Did he scoop that off the ground? Show me a replay on that one, please. Or do they go too fast and not give us a replay? Oh, we're getting one. Yes. Yep. That'll play. That's not easy. Because normally, like if you're one-handing it, you almost want to baby it and cradle it. When you're down, reaching as low as you can, you don't get that chance. Now we got Florida State. Florida State's had a bunch of good players recently. We watched this Florida State defense quite a few times. I'm starting to see where he is every time just based on his release and get off. Okay, there's a couple of missed tackles forced. His grade versus man coverage is pretty good. Solid. Contact, concentration through contact. Inside release to go outside. Yes. And again, I didn't watch him pre-draft, so his scores weren't based on us really liking his tape or anything. It was based on the data that says, you know what, the guy he makes catches when you throw him the ball, which is first and foremost the job of a wide receiver. Now we got Miami. No way, he didn't get his feet down. They're saying he got his feet down. Let's see this. He's getting held too. Catch away from your frame. Toe is down. Dude, nice catch. Yes. That's really good body control. Fighting for that first down. I like it. So in the slot, he's not even covered, right? Oh, it wasn't. He was coming across. I was looking at the slot guy that's left completely alone. But they brought Jordan Moore across here for the touchdown. Yeah, we're going to replay. We don't need to see it. That was a very, very easy one to see. Staying against Miami. Must have had a big game this game. Oh, yeah. I remember this catch. I remember this one now. This is a good game to watch. Look at this. Oh, that's as good of a catch as you will see. He plucked it. How good is that? Like, if you just watch these highlights, you're like, why wasn't this guy drafted? I just hit my hand in the desk. Amped up. NC State, Duke. We're going deep again. And we've got a deep contested grab for the touchdown for Jordan Moore. Yep. Man, you see his body in the, like, I'm joking when I say Chad Johnson, but when you can contort your body like this in the air, that's impressive. It's one of the things you look for when you're evaluating receivers that I don't think enough people recognize. It's why sometimes those big, stiff, boxy guys, the DK Metcalfs, why they're not liked as much. They end up being good players, but there's a lot of guys like that you just don't look fluid enough with the ball in the air. You look more like a tight end. And speaking of tight ends, why Eifert was so rare, because he had that ability. The ball's not going to be perfect every time, you know? You got to be able to adjust in the air. That's what I'm talking. Not on the ground. Anyone can run and adjust with their feet. In the air, can you contort your body, spin in the air like a cat? You know, a cat. You ever watch a cat in slow motion? They'll drop it and they'll This guy just forgot how feet work. Now cut across that safety. Oh, yeah. Does he have the speed to turn this into a touchdown? Oh, the spin move. Random B button press. Oh, yeah. Don't know what happened with one there. He looks like Tyler Boyd, doesn't he? We're losing some pixels on this game here. Who are we playing against? Wake Forest? Come on. Couple missed tackles forced again. 67th percentile for missed tackles forced. Where is he? At the top. He gets in and out of his breaks really well, really clean. His zone grades, though, I want to go back and look because you don't see him too much like settling. There's a nice catch and play. Took a shot. Ouch. Went up and got it, though. See, I like to see this. Okay, this is exactly what I was starting to look for. In the slot, you have to do this a ton. And sometimes the ball isn't out right away. And your route, you see these zones, right? You see all these zones, and there's probably a safety right here protecting this. Well, as the receiver, when you start cutting across, you're like, okay, we got a window here if he can hit it. Or I can keep staying with the quarterback if he runs out. You got to find the most open area, and maybe that leads you to run that way. But do you settle here? Do you settle here? And then do you go out that way with the quarterback? Sometimes guys struggle with that when they weren't quarterbacks in the past. So as we watch more wrap around this defender that's in front of him, and this is more at the top, you're going to see him say, okay, here's a window. It's not this one, right? Remember the first one I said might be right here. So he's going to say, okay, it's actually this one I'm going to get to and wait for the quarterback. If I remember correctly, let's see. Yes. So let me settle down in there and get ready. And here's that safety I alluded to. Bang, with the nice shot. But you did what you're supposed to. That's what I was looking for. As I was saying, we haven't seen too many of those zone plays where he's really had to make a play in the middle of a defense. And that was it there. So again, we got the quarterback holding the ball, and we have a late win downfield. Another spin move at the goal line. How did we get such a late win? Where was he? I can't even see him on the screen. Oh, he just runs it looks like an in and then spins and goes upfield. We'll probably get a replay on this. This is a huge play. That's time ending. That's 0 seconds on the clock. Am I right on this? Yes. What a play. To end the game? Is everyone not rushing the field? What's happening there? Who knows? Who really knows? Not me. All right, back to football. Focus up. Can you guys hear my neighbors cutting the lawn? These comeback routes, he's open pretty much every time. I'd really like to get a good view of it. I want to see him hit the brakes. All right, we got a bit of a scramble situation, and he is wide open. Hopefully we get a replay here. Versus Ole Miss. Maybe we'll get a view here. I'm not so confident we'll get the view. Okay, here we go. We're zooming out. There he is. He's down at the bottom of the screen. He just left the screen as I hit pause. They just let him go, lost him completely. So Jordan Moore will have to beat out guys like Cole Burgess, Mitchell Tinsley, Kendric Pryor, I'm sorry. Maybe Charlie Jones, Isaiah Williams. I looked to see if he was ever a punt returner. He's had one punt return in his career at Duke, so that's probably not an area. Maybe I assume he'll try it out. He looks like he tracks that ball fine. That'd be a way to make the roster, right? But as a back of the roster guy, potentially practice squad, which is probably where he ends up. Let's be honest. Maybe a year on the practice squad, and we'll see how he develops from there. There are so many good receivers in the league, and the Bengals signed 3 undrafted guys this offseason. So we're going to watch a couple other ones. Like Rashad Owens is the other one that people told me I should definitely check out. So we will for that too. But watching Jordan Moore there, a lot of skills that look good to me. I think he's going to play. I think he's the type of guy who have a very good preseason. And we'll be like, dang, how do we get this guy on the roster? And then he won't make the roster. He'll be on the practice squad. We'll be nervous about another team claiming him. No other team will claim him. And that's just how it goes. Bengals are good at receiver. We don't get a chance. We're going to go through position by position, but just talking about it a little bit here while we've got a couple more minutes to spare on this episode. You've got T and Jamar at the top. Mike Gesicki plays a ton of receiver, right? So he's got to be in that group. But Andre Iosivas, if he's your 3/4, you're doing great there. Jermaine Burton has a chance to be a 2 in this league, let alone a 3, a 4, a 5 on this roster. If he can do anything, you're talking about already a top of the line receiving group and receiving room. But if Burton can do anything and show even those flashes as a role player, God, this is the best receiving group in the league without a question. And then Charlie Jones has at least flashed. Can he provide something? There's people that really like Isaiah Williams. If he can be that jitterbug slot guy that they don't have on the roster. And then they have a host of undrafted guys here that have a chance to get in line in that pecking order that really round out the bottom of this roster. It's a really good group at receiver. It's their strength of their team, clearly. When they've spent the resources they have, I'm talking money, cash, cap, and draft picks, because of Jermaine Burton last year being in round 3. It better be one of your better groups, and it is. It's an elite group in the league. And even with all of that, Jordan Moore has a shot to crack this roster, maybe in the 53, but I think for sure as a practice squad guy, he looks like someone that will have a good connection with Joe Burrow and Jake Browning, and we'll probably stick with receiver and get to Owens next. There's a couple of guys I want to get to. Shaquan Loyal, I think, is the defensive back from Virginia Tech. I'm going to mix those up. Joel's going to get me. Anyways, on the next episode of Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics, we're going to watch one more undrafted guy. We got a few others to go. I'm losing the end of the show here. This has been a great show. And now I can't get, sometimes my brain life, right? Got a lot going on. We all do. Until next time on Bengals on the Brain. Hooday.
Bengals fans, tired of the same old post-game chatter? Want real insight beyond the scoreboard? Then you need Bengals on the Brain with Joe Goodberry, presented by First Star Logistics. Joe Goodberry isn't just a fan, he's a die-hard Bengals football analyst. Every week, Joe dives deep into the Bengals game film, breaking down the plays that mattered, revealing hidden strategies, and uncovering the true impact of individual performances. Get ready for post-game analysis like you've never heard before, player evaluations that go beyond the stats, and the most in-depth Bengals draft coverage on the internet. Don't just watch the Bengals, understand the Bengals. Subscribe to Bengals on the Brain with Joe Goodberry on the First Star Media Group's YouTube channel. Get smart, get obsessed, get Bengals on the Brain.